All right, here we finally go. Man, what a pain. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lando, a show that takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success. That is the everyday challenge of my life as I pursue my never ending effort of trying to level up. I am your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm coming to you from Truscott Studios, also known as my bedroom, right here in what is normally lovely Aspen, Colorado, but today is a little gloomy and snowy on Monday, May 19th at 1:23 p.m. And I got to tell you guys, I am frustrated. I have been struggling to try to clear the memory off my phone, which I use as a backup camera to record these podcasts, and every once in a while the memory on the phone gets full and I have to transfer the phone memory to a hard drive. And for whatever reason today I just could not get it's a Android phone and I have a MacBook computer, and I could not get the Android file transfer to work. And so it has been a very frustrating morning. I've felt a little bit lost. I've felt a little bit unorganized. And when I feel that way, if I sit down and I record a podcast, a lot of the time I'm able to actually organize myself and get my shit together. That way, I'm trying to do that all morning, and it did not go so well. So I'm definitely a little perturbed and frustrated. So I'm glad to have the show going. I'm glad to get the episode live because this has been a total pain in the ass. It really has. But we've got the memory cleared from the phone, and we can now do a proper podcast. So welcome, everybody. Yeah, like I said, it's snowing here in Aspen, which I'm so over the snow. I'm ready for warmer weather. I think this is the last storm of May. It is May 19th. And we are coming into the back end of May, and ready for warmer weather. I tell you that much. I am ready to get warm in a freaking down jacket because it is that cold. It's 40 degrees, it's 48 degrees. So pretty chilly for the mountains for mid-May, but honestly, this is how it always goes. We usually don't get warmer weather till around June, which having an 8-month winter is brutal. It's pretty tough, especially when you're a big fan of the warm weather like I am. So, kind of off to a rocky start today. A little annoyed, and I can kind of feel my blood pressure is like high because I've been trying to overcome this challenge, and it has just been hard. I've done it, but getting to this point has been very frustrating and trying. And my patience have worn thin, and I don't feel super excited about my current state of being. So with that, hopefully by the time we get to the end of this show, I will start feeling better because there's a lot going on. So let's see if we can't catch you up. I can't even really remember the last time. I guess the last time I sat down was May 13th. So that was about a week ago, 6 days ago. And, I was struggling to get paid from a client, which I did get paid. So that is a level up. That's a little pat on your back there. Yay, Landon. Good job. And in my attempt to get paid, it took a while. It took a while. And it only happened a couple of days ago. But that will now give me rent for June, which then sets me up. I've got a 10-day work project. I think I'm going to make about $1,000 a day. And so that would be 10 grand, and a huge help to my situation as I'm constantly struggling the struggle and fighting the fight to pay my rent and generate an income, doing something that I love, running and operating Aspen Drone Company, and doing my best to create high quality content, which if I'm totally honest, I'm a little disappointed in the quality of my work. I had a client a couple of weeks ago who was pretty upset with the quality of my work and wanted a discount, and I didn't give him one. But ever since then, it's kind of given me this imposter syndrome feeling, this feeling like I'm not producing a high enough quality work, and that I can do better, that I can do better and that I can be better. And I have every intention to be and do better. So I went and flew the drone for a little bit today, tried to get some of this snow, and it was okay. It was an okay flight. But that was all while I was sort of waiting for this memory to transfer and this phone to charge so that I could do this podcast, which is what I've been trying to do for like 3 hours now, or maybe 3.5 hours, and just really frustrated. So trying to work my way through that emotion and get back to, the business of feeling good and being stoked to be alive, which right now I'm more frustrated to be alive than I am stoked. So got paid, huge, big deal, big win. And I think that she wants to do one more round of videos this week, which would be amazing, especially if we can get some nicer weather. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. But for right now, I've got the the one-time payment that I'm going to get, and that puts me in position to pay my rent for June and then have a couple $100 extra to pay for bills and food. And I renewed my DJI care on the drone, which is great because I took the drone out last Sunday or Monday and somehow managed to crash it. So not entirely sure what was happening there. I was out in the middle of an open field and I lost transmission to the drone. And when I got transmission back, it was down. So, crashing the drone is part of flying it, and being able to have insurance on it is a big deal. So I'm glad that I was able to renew my DJI care. I had one more day to renew it, and it was today. So it cost me $87. It was $79 plus tax. So it cost me $87, and I had about 200. So I've got, $110, and then I'm waiting for this money to transfer bank accounts, and then I can pay my rent for June a full 10 days early. I continue to try to make money, and pay my rent. So that's that. What else has happened? So I crashed my drone. That was a level down. But today I bought the DJI care, which is a level up. So yay, Lando. Good job. Way to protect your investment and my making device, which is my drone. I was able to buy new propellers for it. So yay, Lando. We bought new propellers. And we were able to get those mounted onto it and test it out and see how that goes. And it went good, I think. It went pretty good. I was able to fix it and make it work. And pretty happy with how all of that ended up playing out. Because I had to go hunting for the drone. I lost it deep in the woods. And I had to go climb up the side of a mountain and try to figure out where it was. And luckily, the drone has a Find My Drone app where you can kind of see the last place that it went. And using my phone, I was able to find it, which, again, just a godsend. So another level up. Yay, landed. Crashed the drone, found the drone, bought new propellers for the drone, and then fixed the drone. So those are all, yay, landed. Levels up. Leveling it up. In addition to getting paid and finishing this last round of videos, which was a total pain. It was so frustrating trying to get these videos approved, and I definitely have learned a lot in that process. I definitely need to be taking a 50% deposit up front in order to be doing the work that I'm doing, just in case I get screwed. So hopefully I get another $1,000 coming to me this week if we do decide to go ahead and do another round of videos. So that is that. Now let's quickly go ahead and dive into the little yellow book of accountability, which again, running out of pages. It feels kind of good to have filled this whole journal up. I really like this thing. It's a cool journal made by Ciak, C-I-A-K. So, okay, what did I have to do before? I needed to create a 519.25. I needed to create a business plan and a profit and loss statement and taxes, which I haven't done any of that. So all that gets transferred over. P&L, taxes, invoices. Man, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need to edit. I need to look into AI editing. I don't like editing that much. I mean, I don't mind it. It's kind of fun once you get into it, but practice with the drone, I just did that, actually, so that's good. And I also lost the drone a week ago trying to practice with it. Review my DJI care, I did that. These are levels up. Yay, Landon. Yay, Landon. I have a note back over here. I don't know which one it is. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't say. I guess I don't have a note. Oh, there it is. That one right there. It says, what are the specific actions you're taking to reach your goals? And when I cross little things off this list, these are the specific actions I'm taking to reach my goals, which is why you get a pat on the back, even if it's just flying the drone, even if it's just buying the DJI care. These are wins, you know. I needed to invoice MK, the Eagles Club, and the newspaper. I just heard back from the newspaper. They want me to edit down some of my writing, but I did finish writing 4 different articles. Okay, taxes, debt, and AI editing. So I think I'm going to get some AI, which would be very helpful to me. Oh, okay, let's keep it going. So I want to work on my logo because I've already paid for Canva for a month. And I want to get clothing, t-shirts and a hat that say Aspen Drone Company on it. But I need to get my logo dialed in, so maybe I can use Canva to do that. What else? What else? I guess I got to... Okay. That's pretty good, actually. I got to create a flow or a system, and I need some new clients. So I got a lot going on, you know. I'm trying to accomplish a lot, and sometimes it just feels like I'm twiddling my thumbs. This weekend I did go out of my way to help my friend who runs this new restaurant in town, and he's going through some challenges. The contractor who helped him build out the restaurant, he owes 30 grand to, and he doesn't have the money, so the contractor sued him. And because the contractor sued him, now the city's trying to evict him from the location. So he's not really in the position to hire people, but he needs help. He needs staff, and he doesn't really have a payroll. So I told him I would come in there and help him. So on Friday, I went in there and helped them, and I helped run the register and serve some food up. And then Saturday and Sunday, he actually closed the restaurant, and then we did a deep clean on it, which it really needed. For being a new restaurant, it was pretty dirty. So I'm glad to be able to help him. You know, that made me feel good. And yeah, I gotta say, when you know, not necessarily when you're lost, but when you're struggling yourself or when you're going through some sort of hard time, a lot of times it's nice to go help other people. That's a really great solution to your own problems. Sometimes when you give and you're of contribution and service, that it kind of comes back around. And even if it doesn't, there's a feeling that goes with giving and being of service and being of contribution without expecting anything in return. that it just feels good. So I was going to help him out this morning, but he told me he didn't need it. And we got another friend of ours that's going in to help him. So that feels good. And I'm a little bit hungry. So I can tell I'm kind of like, you know, I got like low blood sugar or whatever. So like I'm a little shaky and irritable, which is only adding to some of this frustration that I've been dealing with. So let's see if I can't sum up the rest of what's happened between now and then. Yeah, finished that video, helped my buddy, got paid. I'm waiting on the money to transfer into my bank account, and then I can pay my rent and see how much money I have left over after. I got to renew my business license, so that's another thing I got to do. Business license and maybe start an LLC. I don't know. Oh, I got to Google workspace. And my pilot's license, my drone license with the FAA. All that's kind of coming up right now. It's been it'll be 2 years in May. It'll be 2 years in 2 days or 3 days here. That I've been working for myself. Well, 1 year that I've been fully working myself, 2 years that I've been a drone pilot. So that's a good feeling. And as I'm looking outside, it looks like the weather's breaking a little bit and we're getting some sunny weather, although it looks like more gray weather's coming in. But I was going to say, sometimes when the clouds part and the sun comes out, you get to start feeling good again. You don't have to feel so gloomy and dreary, which is my mood is kind of matching the weather, although I can feel it shifting as I'm looking at these blue skies that are starting to part, or I'm starting to be able to see as the clouds part. So there's that. And now I'm tempted to go ahead and just jump right into the Daily Stoic here to see if I can't change up my mental perspective. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I need to share as far as trying to surmise the week. Honestly, not too much. But yeah, felt good to help a friend. Felt really good to get paid. Felt really good to get done with these videos that have, been plaguing me in my attempt to get paid. And now we're past them and we get to go do a whole nother round. So that should be helpful and nice. My dad bought me this book, The Four Agreements. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I've been reading the Power versus Force book, getting close to finishing it, and trying to raise my consciousness. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but I'm trying. Oh, here's another big one. I don't know if I shared this with you. One of the alarms that just went off is I've been doing 100 push-ups a day. Now, I haven't made it every single day, but I'm getting pretty close. I'd say in the last 21 days, I've done it 16 of them. So I've only missed 5 days in the last 21. Or maybe it's 14 days out of the last 19. I'm not sure. It might not have been 21 days yet, but doing 100 push-ups a day. I set an alarm for every hour for 10 hours. So from 12:30 to basically 9:30, every hour, the alarm goes off and it reminds me, do 10 push-ups. And I've been doing it. Actually, one of the alarms just went off. So when I finish this, I'll crank out another 10. I won't be at 20 for the day. And I can tell it's affecting my physique. I've definitely squared off. I've started to V out a little bit and have more of a, defined physique. And my chest is getting developed, which is also kind of nice to see. Oh, all right, look at that. I got titties. They're looking good. So, yeah, all that is pretty good. It feels good anyway to be trying to make these small, incremental improvements in my life. And I'm doing it. I'm actually doing the actions necessary to make my dreams come true. What specific actions are you taking to make your dreams come true? I just told you a bunch of the ones that are in this little yellow book of accountability. So feeling pretty good about that. Maybe put the library on there for business books and 3D printing. Okay. What else? What else? What else? Oh, I don't even know. I'm just too frustrated and kind of flustered to really care too much to try to think it all out. So let's go ahead and just dive on into the Daily Stoic. This is 366 Meditations on Perseverance, on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Thank you guys for putting this together. We last read from it on May 13th. So we're going to go ahead and jump ahead 6 days all the way up to May 19th. My little sister's birthday is coming up. So here we go, May 19th. Now, before we jump into this, I know I've already kind of filled you in quite a bit on how I'm doing, but I just like to try to summarize it right before we go into it so that you can kind of get an idea of where I'm at, and then I'll tell you where I'm at when I finish reading. So right now, I'm frustrated. Right now, I'm annoyed. I am irritable. I'm hungry. And I'm feeling a little unorganized as far as how to continue to push the ball forward and use today to improve my business and to get new clients. I should put that on the list. New clients. And I got to play with my cameras and sort my memory. So feeling not overwhelmed, but I heard somebody say anxiety comes from lack of specificity. So anxiety comes from vagueness. And when you are very specific on what it is you have to do, there is no anxiety because you know what the tasks are that you need to accomplish in order to get where you're trying to go. And in this analogy, he was using a map as an example. He's like, if you're trying to drive somewhere and you have a map and you look at the roads and you know which roads you're going to take to get where you're going, you can put your foot on the accelerator because you know where you're trying to go versus having some sort of vague understanding of where you're trying to go, but then you get lost because you don't have the specifics, and that ends up creating anxiety. And so I think I probably have a little of that going on right now as well. I'm experiencing some anxiety over a lack of specifics and an abundance of vagueness. Oh, that's another thing I could put on the list. So see, I'm glad I'm doing this. Now I'm starting to come up with some actionable items. Another thing I want to do is mind dump. I've got a couple of different categories to mind dump about, and I wrote them down. One of the things I'm trying to do is create my ideal future and the dream and what it looks like, and get real specific about what I'm working towards as far as this is the reason I'm working and started my own company and trying to free myself from having to work at all and, making large amounts of money. And then the nightmare, the worst case scenario of what will happen if I fail and I don't find the success or the wins that I'm looking to create in my life. And if I, completely revert all the way back to, the worst case scenario, what does that look like? And then you kind of have the carrot and the stick as far as putting it out into the universe goes, and knowing that, the hell that I've painted as far as the worst possible scenario and what will happen if I don't succeed, as a driver pushing you forward and kind of being that fire underneath your ass so that you don't sit down and that you keep moving the ball forward. And then you also have the carrot, which is the dream and the goal and the most ideal of all circumstances that would then allow you to, have the vision pull you forward and bring you into the future without being pushed by the nightmare. So I need to do that. I need to mind dump that out. So that's where that is. So like I said, feeling a little bit of anxiety, and I've got some low blood sugar, and therefore feeling a little jittery and shaky and weak, and yeah, mostly just sort of annoyed with how this morning has gone because I had intentions on getting this knocked out right away, and for whatever reason, that did not go as planned. And so I'm glad we are here. I'm glad I've accomplished it so that I could get some stuff written down and I could get my thoughts sort of out of myself and into the ether and then let them go, release them, because right now my negative thoughts are not serving me. They are not helping me. And like I said, I would rather get them out and get organized and clear on what it is I'm thinking so that I can allow for whatever thoughts aren't serving me to go and then embrace thoughts that are helpful and constructive. So that's what this thing is for. It's to replace limiting beliefs and negative thoughts with reframing of my life situation so that I can embody and include the positive. So let's take a quick look here. May 19th. Learn, practice, train. That's why the philosophers warn us not to be satisfied with mere learning, but to add practice and then training. For as time passes, we forget what we learned and end up doing the opposite, and hold opinions the opposite of what we should. Epictetus Discourses 2.9.13-14. Very few people can simply watch an instructional video or hear something explained and then know, backward and forward, how to do it. Most of us actually have to do something several times in order to truly learn. One of the hallmarks of the martial arts, military training, and athletic training of almost any kind is the hours upon hours upon hours of monotonous practice. An athlete at the highest level will train for years to perform movements that can last mere seconds or less. The 2-minute drill, how to escape from a chokehold, the perfect jumper. Simply knowing isn't enough. It must be absorbed into the muscles and the body. It must become part of us, or we risk losing it the second that we experience stress or difficulty. It is true with philosophical principles as well. You can't just hear something once and expect to rely on it when the world is crashing down around us. Remember, Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing his meditations for other people. He was actively meditating for himself. Even as a successful, wise, and experienced man, he was, until the last days of his life, practicing and training himself to do the right thing. Like a black belt, he was still showing up to the dojo every day to roll. Like a professional athlete, he still showed up to practice each week, even though others probably thought it was unnecessary. So what I take away from that is I can be doing some more practice. Today I just went and practiced flying the drone, which was good. And again, I don't know that I necessarily had a great flight. I'm not sure how the footage is going to turn out, but that's why I was practicing. I also can practice editing. I can practice doing the business side of my business and not the artistic side, which is the actual photography and the videography. I did reach out to another drone pilot and photographer whose photos I saw that she's based in Aspen, and she's phenomenal. Her work is really, really good. So I asked her if I could buy her a cup of coffee and maybe take her out and then see if I can pick her brain a little bit on how she's getting such great photos, because the photos I saw were fantastic. So that's a little bit of a level up. Yay. Trying to build out my business. It would be cool. I had this vision of like, what if I was able to hire these other drone pilots, these other photographers, and then charge and then pay them, and then I don't actually have to do the videography work, which would be kind of cool as I continue to try to figure out how to like scale my business. So there's that. And yeah, kind of coming back to the idea of, practice and training. While I do practice, training is another thing, and so when I was reading that, one of the things I was thinking about was how I have sort of trained myself to know what to do with the drone. even though last week I crashed it. You wouldn't think I knew what to do with the drone, but I do. I have sort of a system and a series of tasks that need to be checked off as I am trying to fly the drone and get it into the air, and get some good shots. So I do have some things to work on as far as practice goes, and then I've got to implement those into my training sessions. But that kind of sums it up, I think that we'll kind of wrap it with that, with this idea that, what did it say? It said learn, practice, train. Learn, practice, train. So, I'm learning a lot. I'm always kind of learning a lot. And in that way, maybe that's something I can use to do today, is watch some YouTube videos, learn a little bit more about how to create and capture a good shot. And then from there, practice doing those things and developing the skills so that I can then put it into my training and have very specific tasks and skills that I'm accomplishing and acquiring to be able to put my foot on the accelerator. I'm ready to go forward. I'm ready to really break out and have some success and jump from $2,000 a month to $5,000 a month and see if I can't, break free from this financial struggle that I just seem to be bogged down by. That's one of the things I wanted to mind dump about is, whatever limiting beliefs I have around money and rich people and why I am choosing to continue to be broke, even though I have the intelligence and the skill set to not be. So I'm exploring all that stuff as I am pursuing my attempts and passions and dreams of working for myself and making legitimate money doing it, making more than $5,000 a month, making $10,000 a month. So I got to come up with a system and maybe a series of steps that I'll need to take in order to get there. So that's a good place to leave it, with the idea that I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety, and a lot of that's tied to this idea that I don't have a specific map to get me where I'm going, but I can create that map. And so if you're feeling a little frustrated with life, if you're feeling like these little kind of ticky-tacky obstacles and challenges, like trying to get this podcast up and going, I can't tell you how much that flustered me today. It really kind of took what was a reasonable morning, nothing too crazy. It was snowing, which kind of sucked, but a reasonable morning, and then ruined it. It ruined my morning. I just found myself super frustrated, really annoyed, and struggling. And so if you find yourself frustrated, annoyed, or struggling, I suggest that you have not created a map. You need to have specific actions that you can take so that you know where to go. And once you do know where to go, you can put your foot on the accelerator. And if for whatever reason the road that you're on is closed and you need to take a detour, you have a map. You have a bird's eye zoomed out view of where you're trying to get to, and you can then take another road. You can go a different route if the path you're on should be blocked for whatever reason. And right now I'm not feeling like the path is blocked. I'm just feeling frustrated and annoyed that I don't even have a map at all. So that sounds like a good place for me to work on today. And so I wish you, if you're struggling, if you're going through some hard times like I am myself, and things aren't necessarily as idealistic as you want them to be, although they are quite a bit better than they were even just a year ago, where I was struggling to pay my rent. I mean, here we are, May 19th, and I have rent for June. So that's a huge win, because normally I'm paying my rent as, close to the last day as possible, and sometimes even late. And I love my unit. I love my apartment. I love where I live. And so I've got to fight with all of my might to protect it. And the number one way to do that is pay your rent on time. So I am feeling pretty lucky and blessed that I've figured out a way to generate this income and lock in this rent payment. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Enjoy your day. I hope that you get out into the world and you're able to come up with specific actionable steps that you can take to create a map and reduce your anxiety and give you very specifics for you to follow and then execute on. And from there, hopefully, things will get better. That's what I'm hoping for myself. So we'll check back in next time. But between now and then, I'm your host, landing like a plane, and I'm taking off.